Imagine that you are the person who was carrying that large window pane that now lies in shattered shards around your feet. You look at the pieces in dismay because you realize that you can no longer put these pieces back to their former smooth, translucent self. But suddenly, a smile lightens your face. You smile because you see forms of mosaic art that these pieces of glass can form. You see that because now you're looking at the spaces between the pieces of glass. I'm Dr. Frank Douglas, the CEO and founder of Safe Haven Dialogues. I'm also the host of the Reframe for Resilience podcast. In this podcast, we engage guests and discuss situations where they use different approaches to solve problems. In short, where they reframe the problem. And we also try to understand how those approaches helped with resilience. My guest today is Miss Tina Ullmann. Miss Ullmann has been a career HR leader in corporate. However, a year ago, she decided to set out on her own, and she has her own company in the area of fractional HR. I had the opportunity of meeting with her before having today's podcast. And I have to say, Tina, I was really quite amazed. And I can't say you echoed the comments of other guests on the podcast because our meeting occurred before some of the guests whose comments I will refer to. When we talked, it struck me that you talked about faith and trust. And we had one guest who talked about faith, trust, and pixie dust. And you talked about candor, real candor, candid conversations being so important for reframing and for growth. And we had a guest who did. Another guest, you talk about the importance of getting people to succeed. This was a comment. And a recent guest talked about importance of pivoting, which is something that you have done several times, and recently a big pivot as you've moved into the entrepreneurial world. So tell us a little bit, share with us your journey.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Douglas, for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of this conversation. Resiliency is my word for 2025. It was actually a word that I had picked out about 3 months ago, that was going to be my word for 2025 was resilience. And part of my journey as I sit and reflect on what my journey has been over the past 25 years, I feel as if I have continuously reframed my roles through HR, as that wasn't initially my intention. I did not initially go to school for human resources. I wasn't thinking of that as a long-term career. I was in an operational role that moved into a human resources role about 25 years ago, and just continuously built upon the different areas of HR to continue to grow. And I think the only way that I was resilient through that was through having faith in myself, but it was really the faith of others that they had in me and could see it in me before I could see it in myself. And I think it's listening to those around you and taking the guidance and the support of those. I had senior executives that saw it in me before I saw it in me as an HR leader. And probably one of my strongest mentors was Craig Hazenfield. who I worked with for several years, and he was my CHRO that just had me lead large projects, working with Martha Stewart and working with Vistaprint and as a learning and development professional, and then leading large conferences of 5,000 people and building content for 30,000 people. All of those things that I didn't necessarily see for myself, he saw in me. And taking those chances on me and putting me in global talent management spaces and leading um, cultural competency frameworks. Those are the things that drove me in my passion for HR and for helping others to build resiliency and behaviors and really focus on that people component to drive the behaviors that are needed to continue to make sure that we are continuously moving forward.
Thank you for sharing that with us. One of the things that you did share with me is that when you were in high school, you were actually being pointed in a different direction, and
I
you
was.
might not have gone to college. Did you not have
Yeah.
the guts and
Yeah.
yes.
That was my first reframing. And it is something that I focus on and that I want to take with my own entrepreneurship now to help others. But I had my guidance counselor at the time, in high school, we all have guidance counselors, and I worked after school. So I didn't do sports. I wasn't the athlete, right? I did school and I went to work. And my guidance counselor had said to me when I went to him with my university plan of wanting to go and be an architect that maybe I shouldn't think about that. Now I'm mindful. I was getting A's in mechanical drawing. I was in the extracurricular classes for mechanical drawing and architecture. But his um, goal to me was to just focus on maybe a business type of course and just kind of get into just a technical type of pool, and rather than thinking about going away for college. And that really set a fire underneath me initially. And I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. And these are the schools I want to go after. I was an architect major at first. I wasn't a business major. I was an architect major. So it's something that I loved and something that I still love. Um, but I moved into a business major. And then I had others that believed in me. The CHRO that I mentioned before, Craig, who talked to me about schooling and reading and participating. And I led Harvard business leadership courses for 150 VPs after school, like when I was in my HR role. I've led Harvard courses. I have my MBA. And I want to go back and find my college, my high school counselor, and just be like, you have like the way he was pushing me towards something to say that I wasn't worthy is just not acceptable. And part of what I'm hoping to do with my entrepreneurial role is to actually be able to help those that are in that career transition from high school, from college, to figure out what they want to do. In some cases, doing some pro bono work, and in other cases, helping organizations.
Oh,
That was the beginning of my shift for reframing my life.
no, this is just so important. And it, in a real sense, it is the critical time in everyone's life, that transition from high school to college, or to the technical world, to technical school. That transition is so critical. And the importance of the guidance counselor and the mentor,
Yes.
just so important. Could you talk a bit about the aspects of having a mentor and how important that is in helping one reframe?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, that mentorship, whether it was a or an informal mentorship, and I'd say the mentorship that I had with Craig was an informal one. I reported to him, but having him believe in me and sit down and discuss with me what he saw for me in my future, but what I needed to do to get there, and then continuously checking in. We haven't worked together in 15 years, but we still connect with each other on a regular basis. And that to me is what's so important. The belief that he has in me in starting this journey in entrepreneurship, when we haven't worked together since 2015, so 10 years. But mentorship to me it's more about listening and helping people overcome and reframe themselves to be able to understand that they do have the capability in what they want to do, but they have to see it for themselves as well. It's not doing the work for somebody, it's having the conversations to allow them to be able to do the work for themselves.
And tell me, did the mentor find you or did you find the mentor?
So in that instance, the mentor was my boss, right? So he came to me. He came to me about things that he recommended for me and things that he saw in me and the things that he believed in order for me to be able to continue to grow my career. Other mentors that I've had have been more of a mutual mentor relationship, just because I've really liked the way that they've led, right? And they've liked the way that I've been candor with them in that sense. Some of it came through coaching. So I used to do executive coaching in my roles within the different businesses that I supported. And a lot of the candid conversations, I'm a tell it like it is person, right? So I'm going to be very candid with you. Radical Candor is one of my favorite books. But I'm going to be very candid with you about what I see and whether you choose to accept that and have the accountability for that. It will be with respect, it will be professional. But I've also received that from my mentors.
Tell me two or
Yes.
three ways this journey of yours have helped you to be resilient.
I'd say reflection, meditation, and empowerment are kind of the three biggest things that have helped me get to this point in my life right now.
Thank you for that. Reflection, meditation, and empowerment for resilience. I have really enjoyed this second conversation with you and would like to wish you a great start to 2025. All the best to your healing foot and all the best to your new journey in fractional HR.